Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, or evening, whatever time it is for you. It's morning over here. This is Cassandra the Oracle. I am going to be giving you a guided meditation today. And as you listen to this, please make sure that you're in a safe, relaxed, and comfortable position. Please do not listen to this while you are driving, operating heavy machinery, or doing anything that requires your full attention. Please let this be something that is relaxing for you, that you can dedicate at least a half an hour to listen to. I would recommend perhaps once a day, every day for a week, to see the full benefit of it. Now, for this meditation, I'm going to be taking you into a light guided trance. If you've never been in a trance state before, that's completely fine. What I'm going to be doing is talking you through a set of actions and visualizations and emotions. Now, some of this is going to be self-directed, and some of this is going to be directed by me. Some of this is going to be directed by the guides, angels, whichever spirits I'm calling in at the time to help deliver this message. It was Archangel Metatron who first approached me about starting this recording to give you guys the opportunity to experience a guided meditation with him if you haven't before, or if you've never done manifesting before. This is the perfect opportunity to start. This is going to be very gentle. It's going to be very easy for you to slip into this state of meditation with me. And I don't want you to worry. I don't want you to stress. If there's anything that you have to do or that's weighing on your mind, if it is something that you can let go of, please let go of it for the duration of this meditation. And if it's not, perhaps find another time to listen to this meditation where you can be more fully relaxed and engaged in it, because I do want you to see the benefits that will come from participating in this meditation. Now, if you will just take a moment with me to ground yourself, I feel this is important before starting the meditation, especially where I'll be taking you through some light trance behavior. And like I said, if you're new to that, it might be a little more intense than meditations you have experienced in the past. With the trance, it's going to put you in a state of mind where you're highly suggestible. And this is going to allow you to access parts of your mind that generally remain hidden from you, that generally feel rather inaccessible, or they feel difficult to communicate with. Or perhaps you feel like you can't trust yourself and you can't reliably get the answers that you're seeking when you ask some of the questions that we'll be going through in the duration of the meditation. So what the trance does is it eases you into a state of acceptance. It eases you into a place of non-judgment. If you've never been in a space like this before, you may find this to be a very emotional, a very healing experience, simply allowing yourself to be fully present in the moment and okay with yourself as a human being. This is a really rare state of being for us to be in as people, because so often our emotions, our thoughts, our behaviors and actions are dictated by those around us, by the societal customs, by the norms, by the work pressures, by the family pressures, by the opinions of friends, anyone really. And so what I'm really excited to give you here is the opportunity to be in a space where none of that matters. For right now, you are the only thing that matters. I want you to sit with that for a moment and then imagine yourself in a dark, star-studded room. This is where we're going to do our grounding meditation. If you've ever been to a planetarium before, this is going to feel very similar to that. I want you to imagine that you're on a giant beanbag in the center of the floor. The room all around you is very dark and very still. As you look around, you start to notice there are stars winking in and out of existence. It's almost as if you are looking up at the night sky, but this is a little different than the night sky, because here, the planets that you might see are different, perhaps, than the solar system you are used to seeing. The things that you're about to hear and experience are perhaps different than you might encounter in the wild if you went out into the forest, for instance, to do this meditation. You won't hear the sound of crickets, but instead you're going to hear a gentle hum. You're going to hear a gentle whir. And this whir is going to help set your mind at ease like a quiet metronome in the background. As you gaze at the stars above, that gentle whir is going to remind you of your grounded presence here on earth as you look into portals into the future, into the past, and into possibilities of your present moment. This will be very important. But for now, allow that gentle background whir to just fade into the quiet. For now, just focus on the different alternating points of light that are in front of you. Okay, now as you're looking up, I want you to see how many stars you can see. I want you to find the biggest one that you can see. I want you to take that one. I want you to call it Sirius. I want you to call this one the North Star. I want you to call this one the brightest star that you are seeing in the sky. This is going to represent your future. This bright point in the night sky is going to represent infinite possibilities for you. Now, I will also want you to find a duller, slightly dimmer star in the sky. I want you to find one that kind of winks in and out of existence in such a way that it makes it hard to track its movement in the sky. Perhaps if you stare directly at this star, it even vanishes entirely, and you're only really able to glance at it when it's in the corner of your eye. It's almost like an illusion that is there, and you know it is there, and yet it is not there when you seek it. This is your past. I want you to think of this as Ursa Minor. Now, between these two stars, we are going to alternate on a fixed point in the center of them. This center point is going to represent your future, your past, and your present commingling into one. You're going to, over the course of the meditation, see a constellation. You're going to see a progression of stars that begin to materialize. You're going to see different possibilities come in and out of existence with this star. Maybe it is a constellation, maybe it's a singular star, but you're going to see it. Now, as you're envisioning these stars, I want you, my cat is trying very hard to distract me during this meditation right now. I want you to imagine that any distractions that may be coming up are flowing away. Don't resist these distractions. I feel that I am tapping into the energy of my collective around me at the moment. There's a lot of frustration. There is a lot of anger. There is a lot of tension. There's a lot of brutal force. There's a lot of anguish and feelings of giving up. There is a feeling of wanting to fight back. There's a feeling of not being able to relax and let go of tension. And I feel very much that whenever I set the intention to meditate or to have a channeling, any distractions that come through, any messages that come through, any visualizations, anything at all, any interruptions, these are intentional and they are a reflection of the current energies. So now I want you to let go of any of those distractions as much as possible and focus instead on the stars. So we have Sirius, we have Ursa Minor, and then we have Mystery Constellation right at the very center. Now, forget about visualizing what Mystery Constellation or star at the very center looks like for the moment. Instead, I want to take you on a trip to your past. So Archangel Metatron is going to help guide this session, and he's going to take you and walk you through the Akashic records to access a point in your past. This point is going to be different for everybody. This point is going to be something that likely causes you a lot of pain, because the most intense memories that we have, the most intense experiences that we have that are hardest to let go of, those are the ones that tend to remain. It can become hard over time to remember the good memories. It can be easy to lose them amidst all of the darkness we accumulate over the collective course of our human existence. I'm feeling a lot of throat chakra energy condensing here as I am talking through this. I feel some really deep and heavy emotions, like I want to cry. I feel emotions like I was wronged. I feel emotions like things that happened that I couldn't change. I wish I could change, but I couldn't. I feel like this collective is accessing a piece of their past that broke them and that made them into something different. It made them into what they are now. There's a lot of regret revolving around this experience that is coming up for you right now from your past. Because as you are sitting in this calm, trance-like state of meditation, you are realizing the sense of helplessness that you had at this event in the past. You are realizing that it was futile for you to try to avoid that event from happening. And the feeling of powerlessness that came from that event is really traumatizing and is really difficult for you to imagine living with. And this is why this part of you has been trapped in your subconscious for so long. It's because it's been difficult for you to face. And now that it has an opportunity to be heard, now that it has a voice to come up with and to confront you with, you may find yourself in a very uncomfortable state of emotion right now. You may feel like you don't have the normal defenses. Excuse me. I'm feeling a lot of clearing in the solar plexus chakra area, which is in your stomach. This is the seat of our power. This is the seat within us that tells us it's okay and that we are strong. I feel the memory that this collective is bringing up for each of them individually was a moment that disempowered them. Yeah. I feel this was a moment that made you feel weak. I feel this was a moment that angered you, but more than angered you, you felt so helpless that you couldn't be angered. And it was really difficult for you to process that. And the best that you could do to proceed into your future was to let go of the memory of this thing. And yet this experience stayed with you. Metatron is showing me in the Akashic record. This is really difficult to speak. There's a red blot in your record. I see someone try to expunge something from your record here. I see someone really desperately tried to erase this moment from happening. But he is showing me a signature here, and he's showing me that this moment always had to happen. And he's showing me that the pain of this moment was what launched you into a trajectory that changed the entire course of your life. And he's showing me this is really difficult for you to understand, because this is something that when you are not in this light, trance-like state, every part of you would rebel against. Every part of you would say, I would never choose that for myself. I would never choose that for another person. And that's right. And the reason he's telling me that you feel this way is because you know the depth of this experience. You chose this experience to strengthen yourself, to be able to confront in the world experiences like this happening to other people. Because you are so strong, you reached within yourself and you knew that you had the depth of character, you had the emotional resilience to withstand this happening. My cats are actually fighting with each other right now. And they're choosing to fight on my bed, which is where I'm recording this, because I wanted to be in a comfortable place to record this. And I find it so funny that they're choosing right here to have this conflict, just kicking and biting and meowing at each other. And I feel that metaphor of those two wolves. If you've ever heard of that metaphor of the two wolves coming up before, where we say we have two wolves inside of us, except here, I guess we have two kittens. We have an orange one, which has typical orange cat behavior. And then we have the gray one, which has a more grounded and stable energy and behavior, right? So anyway, let's return back to the channeling. You chose this experience, and I know that sounds awful to say, but I want you to stick with me for a moment so I can tell you why. Because it is important to me that you leave this meditation knowing why. There was a reason for you choosing it. And the reason is because your soul is deeply, deeply empathetic. And your soul needed to know what that experience felt like. Because your soul wanted to draw on the anger that came from that experience. Because there is a point of powerful transmutation that happens in us when we have a debilitating and crushing experience. Because although that experience disempowers us for a while, it also awakens a fierce protectiveness in us. Those of us who are empaths, who embrace our gifts, who embrace our challenges, we are mothers like no other. We are fathers like we never had. We are the parents of a humiliated generation. We are the peacekeepers of a community that seeks war. We are the people that empower those who have no voice. And I'm feeling so many emotions come up from this collective as I'm channeling this message. Because I'm channeling for a really powerful collective. I'm channeling for a group of people who are dying for their voices to be heard. I'm channeling for a group of people that were never heard in this moment in their past. And I'm seeing this signature again. It's in black ink and it's in cursive and it's fully legible. And Archangel Metatron is telling me, he says, remember my name. And he's saying it's not his name, but it's your name. He is saying your name is written in the book of life because you lived. He said, this is a generation of people who want to leave their mark on the world and they want to change it for the better. This is a generation of people who won't be silenced. This is a generation of people who took their own blood to blot out the ink. And the power of their signature remained even after the pain of their betrayals, of their traumas, and of their difficulties. He says this is an incredibly powerful generation. We may be divided by thoughts, but we are not divided by feelings. Our experiences may be different in color, and yet they are the same in resonant frequency. As you can hear, my cats are still fighting in the background. And Archangel Metatron is passing his hand over this book now. And he is powerfully transmuting this experience for you. There is a purple and swirling light that's surrounding him. And as he's passing his hand over this book, the red stain that is over this experience is blotted out and is removed. It's actually being expunged. The experience is remaining, but your interpretation of this experience is changing. I'm feeling there's been a big release of the energy that was really building up in the tension of that moment. And Archangel Metatron is moving you through now to a different part of the library. He's showing you a comfortable seat in the library. He's showing you a purple seat, and it's very plush and comfortable to sit on. And he's inviting you to sit on this chair. I see you wiping away tears from your eyes, and there's so much strength in you. It makes me really proud. It makes me want to hold you, to hold your hand and tell you that you've done so good and tell you that you've done so well. It makes me want to lift you up to the sky and show you Ursa Minor. It makes me want to take you back to the planetarium where we're grounded in on the beanbag chair that you can feel beneath your back. And it makes me want to show you how this star that blinks in and out of existence that you could never quite seem to capture from your past or understand. I want you to see it as Ursa Major now. I want you to see this star is glowing brighter, and it's firmly fixed in the firmament. I want you to see how it's transmuted from something smaller and negligible that you tried to downplay in your past. And I want you to see how great that star truly is. I want you to see it shining there. I want you to be proud of this star that has made up the constellations of your sky, because it is beautiful and is strong. And through all the light years that separate you from this star now, I want you to know this star is with you and that it guides you. It is no longer a shadow aspect for you. This star is a strength. The scar that this star burned into your past and across your mind, you are stronger for it. You are not weaker for it. The thing that is set on fire is not lost, but is set ablaze. I want you now to know this set your heart ablaze. This set you on fire. This moment was the catalyst for your transformation, and it guides you now. And now that you are aware of this incredible power that resides deep within you, I want you to lean on that strength. You don't have to run from it anymore, because that star is your strength. That star is your constellation. That star is your power. Archangel Metatron is taking us back to the Akashic Records. He is drawing our attention to the fact that we are, in fact, still present there, even as we are on the beanbag in the planetarium. He says we are separated in our minds, and yet we are wholly present in our bodies. He's giving you a book now. And this book, as you sit on this purple plush chair with wooden legs, it's a deep oak color I see. This book that he has given you, he says, it is not written yet. And yet it contains your future. And as you look at the blank pages, you see them filling with a fancy white script. He's telling me the script this is written in is your tears. He says there is stardust in your tears. And as the quill which writes these words in your book is moving, there is stardust shining and flowing through this pale, pink, translucent script. There is a luminescence to this script, a sparkling to it. It shows me the script is alive and it is changing, it is dynamic. I'm feeling a lot of energy being cleared here right now. I'm hearing a voice in the collective crying out, I didn't know I still had a future. I'm hearing a voice in this collective saying, I didn't know I still had a chance. And Archangel Metatron, as so much emotion is coming up right now from this, in this collective, Archangel Metatron is telling me to tell you, yes, Starseeker, you always had a chance. In fact, you wrote the stars. You wrote your own chances. He says, you sent a cry to me for help, and you reached through the cosmos, and you summoned this moment into your reality to change it forever. He says, this is your lifeline, receiver. This is your lifeline, which you threw and cast as a net into your future and said, if I should ever reach a moment of hopelessness, if I should ever feel like my mission is too great and is too much for me to bear, I cast this lifeline into the future and I pull myself through this disillusion, through this shallowness, through the embodiment of self that I so fear. I cast this net into the future and I pull myself back out of the abyss that I found myself in. Because, dear listener, Metatron says, the stars were not made for you to become lost in. The stars were made for you to become guided in. All of the moments and the experiences in the constellation of your life, in the great star-studded cosmos of your sky. All of these moments were meant to light the way for your future. They were meant to shine brightly. And he says, in order for these moments to shine brightly, they had to set your soul on fire. Because all that glitters is not gold, but it is shining and it is future. And he says, you may have felt fool's gold. You may have tasted deceit of snake water on your lips many times in the past. And I'm feeling a really big release of energy here. And he says, that doesn't matter now. Don't you see, dear listener, that it doesn't even matter now? He says, because all of those experiences, they led you here to this moment, to my moment, here with you, dear listener. He says, I want you to know you are always guided. Even when you sail your ship in the night, even when you set your trail ablaze amongst these stars, I watch over you. I see the machinations of the stars. I see the movements of the cosmos in a way your simple mind as a human right now cannot comprehend, but I know your soul feels. He says, I want you to feel with your soul now, dear listener, as you look to your bright and your infinite future. Dear listener, I want you to listen with your heart instead of trying to see with your eyes. I want you to feel with the fullness of your body instead of the woundedness of your core. He says, because your core is perfect. He says, I don't care who has touched you, who has wronged you, who has hurt you, who has slain your ego and your fragile, delicate soul more times than you can possibly count. He says, I don't care who stole from you, who set you on fire, who drowned you, who crushed you, who cut you, who burned you at the stake. I don't care, he says, who didn't believe you, who didn't trust you, who mocked you, and who scorned you, who hated you, who talked badly about you. He says, I don't care who did any of those things to you. He says, do you know why? He says, because deep down, listener, these were aspects of yourself which sought to keep you down, to sabotage you. He says, because if you ever listen to those things, he says, it is because a part of you deep down had abandoned yourself already. And he says, this is not your fault. He says, this world is a cruel place. At times, this world is an unforgiving place, because though there is kindness in this world, yet is there so much wounding. For the wounds of those who have been wounded, in turn, wound new people. He says the bully does not rise out of the ashes unscathed. The bullied rises up and in turn bullies others. He says, I want you to know, dear listener, those who hurt you were hurt themselves. And I don't say this to excuse their behavior. I just want you to know where it started. I just want you to know, for the context of you, there was never a reason that you deserved it. It is important you know these were wounded people, because it is important for you to know that whole and healthy people would never, ever, ever do to you what they did. They would never say the things to you that were said. It was never appropriate for that to happen to you as a child. It was never appropriate for you to be hit as a teen, for you to be silenced in your rebellion. Because teenager, I want you to know your rebellion was not wrong, because the world is fucked up. The world is not right. And you saw that world for what it was. And I want you to know, those who silenced you for your rebellion, those who silenced you for what you said and what you saw, I want you to know that you saw truth, dear listener. I want you to know there was never anything wrong with you for seeing that truth. And I want you to feel so empowered and so justified that I see you, that I know you. I want you to know, dear listener, you were never wrong. Sure, you may have been misguided at times, but your heart was pure. And I want you to know that I see your heart now, and it is pure. It is light as the feather of Ma'at that Anubis could weigh on his scale, or Osiris could weigh on his scale. I want you to know, dear listener, your soul is so light and so pure. This world could not handle it, and you revealed the darkness inside others. I feel so much pain in me coming up right now as I'm channeling this message from Metatron. There is so much wounding of inner child I feel from this collective, and inner teenager. I hear opinions that were never voiced. I hear my words were silenced in me before I could even speak. I hear the rebellion that I sought to have, I could never have. I hear I never got to live my dream because others were out there living it for me. I'm hearing I got told to lift others up when I was told to stay down. I hear I was told to give up my seat at the table when I never even knew that I had one to give. I hear everything I ever had, I shared with others because I knew what it was like to have nothing. And yet when I turned back around, the world was not there when I needed it. I hear my heart was also not there when I needed it. I'm seeing a heart right now that Metatron is holding in his hands. And this heart is very wounded. It is very black. It is very cracked. There are a lot of fissures in this heart. There's a lot of pain and damage that this heart has sustained from this collective. I'm hearing that the holders of these hearts are powerful people, and that lesser people may have been crushed by the weight of what happened to these hearts. And these people volunteered to absorb this damage because they're so kind and so giving and so empathic. And Archangel Metatron is saying, right now is not the time for these hearts to take on any more burden. He says, they have done more than their fair share. He says, and I am expunging this pain from their records immediately. He says, this pain will be gone by tomorrow. He says, they'll wake on a new day and the pain will no longer be there. The familiar pain in their hearts will be gone when they go to search for the tears that haunt their bed sheets at night, when they go to clutch their chest alone in their room where no one can hear them, where no one can see them scream or cry. He says, behold, I will be there instead, and I will hold their hand, and I will give them back a new heart, and this one will be fashioned in the likeness of God, of source creator energy. It will be a golden and a perfect heart, because that is what this listener deserves. That is what this soul deserves who is listening to this message. He says, your heart is perfect already. He says, allow me to reveal to you the perfectness of your own heart that was beneath this wounding the whole time. He says, what is dirty is never dirty. He says, the dirt is wiped away to reveal the cleanness of what was always there. The dirt and the pain and the frustration and sadness and anger of these experiences, the trauma of these memories, he says, they are a layer of dirt which covers the pureness of the soul within. And this layer of dirt is being removed now. And he says, we are transmuting this dirt. It is now soil for your future projects. And he hands me a pot. And in this pot is the soil from these experiences. And it is fertile and rich with nitrites, I'm being told. And he says, shit makes the best fertilizer. And he's laughing a bit as he says this. And he has a smile on his face. And he says, those that are not afraid of hard work are also not afraid to get their hands dirty. And I set this planter in front of you on a small table, dear listener. And Archangel Metatron encourages you to place your hands within this dirt. And he says, taste the newness of your possibilities. Taste the freshness of your experiences that are yet to come. He says, in the past, did you look to Ursa Minor to transmute her into Ursa Major? And he says, now I want you to taste Sirius. I want you to taste the brightness of your North Star, because she is earthy and she is strong and she is black and she is more than the experiences which made her. I'm feeling such a powerful feeling come up from this message. And as I watch you dive your hands into this soil, I see the tears that you shed, the tears that were used to pen the ink of your new future book. I see these tears are watering the soil. I hear Metatron now say, plant the soil, dear listener. My cat is actually, they stopped fighting a little while ago, and one of them is actually now coming up to me and purring. It says, dear listener, plant the soil. Take your seeds and let the shoots take root. He says, do not be afraid to be buried and crushed under the weight of your experiences anymore. He says, behold, because it is soil for you. He says, now these experiences transmute you. They take the hard potential you were and they crack it open. He's showing me the germination process of the seed now, and how the seed is so whole and perfect before. He says this hard seed was formed from the fruits of your labor. He says you became hard and rounded and perfect and completely oblivious to fallout damage and hearing. I'm seeing like a nuclear explosion go off, and this seed survives it. He says your hard outer casing is so impenetrable and so powerful that you have protected a wealth of knowledge and information and greatness inside you. And you never knew it, even because the seed on the outside was all that you saw. You saw the seed as your creation, but you didn't know the life that existed within it because you thought it was dead. Because the seed doesn't move, the seed doesn't react, the seed doesn't change color. The seed is the seed. It can be stored for thousands of years and never change. He says, you saw the fruits of your labor as producing this dead seed, but behold, I now show you this seed bears life. And so as he is burying the seed into the past transmutation of your past experiences, the seed cracks open. And I see you crying harder because you thought, I didn't have it. You were thinking, I didn't think that I had any tears left to give. I didn't think there was any more understanding to be had. I thought I was perfect enough already, as best as I could be in this shitty situation. I am seeing a lot of pain in your expression, but I'm also seeing so much joy. There's a lot of power to be had here, viewer. There's a lot of power to be had here. I see your seed taking root, and I feel this tremendous heat that is rising within you, within this collective. There's a powerfulness to this collective. There's a confidence that wasn't here at the beginning of this channeling. There's so much heat that's happening within now. I feel like you were burning through karma, like you were burning through these chains that tied you down. I'm getting that some of you may be seeing different visuals right now of this seed taking root and taking shape. I'm actually starting to sweat a little because the energy is so intense. It is that intense in this collective. Excuse me, and I'm burping again too, which is always associated with energy clearing for me when I'm reading for people and channeling for people too. Archangel Metatron is smiling now, and he's showing me many different pots. He's showing me there are pots that have pea plants in them, like English snow peas or snap peas. I'm also seeing snapdragons. That may be relevant for some of you. And he's saying, those of you that resonate with this pea plant, know you are so much more than your experiences. Know that you are delicious and beautiful, even if you have developed such an exterior that it feels, he says, no one can devour you. In other words, you feel you've become tough and hardened and inedible. You feel like you're no longer maybe good enough to be around other people. He says, that's okay. He says, because you're perfect and you're beautiful and your flowers are the most delicate and beautiful of all. He's showing me a lizard that is climbing this plant, and the lizard looks very happy. I actually see this as a fire salamander spirit. So those of you who resonate with this pea plant imagery and messaging, you may find you have elements of fire in your chart, in your astrology chart, perhaps your natal chart or your top 3. You may also work with fire spirits, fire elementals, candles, heat, summer, daytime, things like that, solar energy. He says to meditate with fire salamanders if this is something you resonate with. He's showing me over here a colder plant. Interesting. He is showing me ice wine. He's showing me this grape plant that grew up. And there's this place in Canada that grows a special kind of ice wine. Ice wine is made from grapes that are left to freeze in a very specific way, in specific temperatures and humidity levels and climate. He's showing me that the best and sweetest wine is made from these impossible circumstances. He says, dear spirit, do not be afraid if your cold exterior has been off-putting to others at times. Do not be afraid if you felt like your heart was frozen over, like you could not access your emotions. Do not be afraid, dear spirit, if you have felt lying dormant for a long time in a cold blizzard with no one to warm you, with no one to help you. He's showing me now a bath or a sauna, and he's saying this could be beneficial for you if you resonate with the grape plant or wine or ice wine in particular, or sweet drinks, sweet wines, desserts, things like that. I'm also told a pleasurable company if you like fine dining or good experiences and good company, the home, any of these things. He says to go to a sauna as soon as you can, or to have a very hot shower with lots of humidity. He says that will be very good for you. And then lastly, I just opened my eyes and saw 555 on the timer. My cat started purring. It's cute. So the last person here that I am getting a message for, I'm seeing a broccoli. This is really interesting. He says, you, dear listener who resonate with the broccoli, he says you have a really resilient spirit. He's telling me there's a lot of protein in the stem of the broccoli, which a lot of people actually throw away or don't like or enjoy the taste of. He says, you are very nutritious and satisfying for other people. And he says, yet only the right people can appreciate you. And you may often find yourself being thrown away at times by those who, quote unquote, love you. They may steal your crown, he says. And he's pointing to the broccoli florets. And this is a metaphor also for your crown chakra, your power, your glory, etc., or your spotlight even. I'm being told. It says, these people may steal from you something you feel you may not be able to get back. And he says, but, and he's showing me this broccoli stem that is rooted in the ground. And he's showing me it grows a new crown. He says, the crown is delicious and is the best part. And yet, the thing is, dear listener, that the stem can always grow more, but the crown, once cut off, can do nothing but wither and die or be consumed. And he says, the joke is on them if they feel they have gotten the best of you, or they have taken the best of you, or that you cannot once again shine, because you will grow back even stronger than this. He's showing me also daisies may be relevant for you, or the color blue or lapis. I'm seeing a daisy chain too. That's all I'm seeing for that. So now Archangel Metatron takes both of your hands and he wipes the dirt off of them, and he gives you a warm cloth, and he gives you a cloth as well to wipe away your tears. And I see you looking a lot happier, dear listener, on this purple couch, because it is a couch now. I see there's room for two on this couch instead of the chair you were on before. He comes and he sits beside you on this couch, and he takes your hands and he places them over his heart. He says, dear listener, what is it you want now? If you could have the whole world, if you could have anything that you want right here with me now, he says, think of me as your Santa Claus. What do you want now, dear listener? What do you want now? I see you placing your hands now over your own heart, and your heart is golden and beautiful now. And you look down like you don't recognize it. And you said, I didn't even realize I still had a heart. That's what I'm hearing. And you're not even really crying anymore, not even tears of happiness. You're just like, there's this feeling of like elation, like tentative, like elation that I'm feeling. And this sugar sweetness. I'm hearing the song Candy Wine by Lost Boy Crow, I think it is. You might benefit from listening to that song. Might be a message for you in it there. So as you're thinking to yourself, Archangel Metatron wants to remind you that you are still grounded in the planetarium. And he says, dear listener, as you look up at the stars, we have toward Ursa Major, we have toward Sirius, And now I want you to see the constellation that rises forth from your heart. He says, do not worry if you don't know constellation names. He says they'll be given to you in time. You will know them. Perhaps you know the names of stars. Perhaps you see an image. He says you can research these and find deeper meanings. He's showing me a lot of different things. There's going to be a lot for this collective. I'm seeing the image of the Gemini. That's a constellation. All of the zodiac signs are constellation, but Gemini is what's showing. I see Pisces. I see the planet Mercury, just showing it as, like a star. It looks similar to a star from a distance. He's showing me also that your potential may be different up close than what other people think, because some stars burn bright because they're on fire, he says, and some burn bright because they are planets, and their brilliance shines forth even across decades and light years of distance away. So he says, learn to identify the element which burns most strongly within you. Some of you, this may actually be water. It may be air. It may be earth. It may be fire. I'm getting actually a lot of earth and air sign from this collective. I see Scorpio as well for the constellation. And I see an actual scorpion in the desert that's scuttling along, but he's doing amazingly well because he can survive anything, really. He's in the desert. It's in the hottest place you can be in the world, and he's just fine. He knows how to walk on sand that's not solid. Like, he knows how to burrow underneath if he needs. He knows how to find food. He knows how to find shelter. Like, Metatron's also saying, we never see the scorpions breed, and yet there's always more of them. So he's also implying there are things you do in secret. There are things you do in the night or under cover of darkness or in the privacy of your mind that other people don't see and frankly don't need to see. But it doesn't matter, because the fruits of your labor, of whatever that work is, if it's shadow work, if it's thinking of ideas, by the way, ideas are often symbolized by pregnancy, things like that, bringing life into the world, very symbolic of, bringing a child into the world. So yeah, he is showing me you don't need to tell everyone your secrets. You just need to show the world what you're capable of doing. Yeah. He says now there should be some sort of shape, either a star, a planet, or constellation taking place at the center of this planetarium between the Ursa Major and Sirius. He says to focus on this. I'm seeing a little bit the image of a bear, Ursa Major. Excuse me, I think that's Ursa Major. I'm seeing a big clearing too in your energy fields. There is like a tingling that's spreading in my body, like a resoluteness that wasn't here before at the beginning of the channeling. It's really powerful, beautiful. He's showing me that you're taking a deep breath. And I see you now reaching out with your hands in this planetarium. And you actually find yourself slipping into this image that you've created, that you see. This, he says, is the wellspring of your current imagination. He says this is the possibility of what you can create and manifest in this moment right now. He says this is what's being written in your book of life as we speak. He says the greatness that's in your heart, the pureness in your soul, the whimsy in your spirit, the ego in your desire, the happiness in your smile. He says these are all things. Oh, he also says the wish in your wish fulfillment list. These are all things being written into your stars right now. He says, dear listener, you create the cosmos of your sky. Do you see it now? Do you see the power and the potential that you hold in your words? Dear listener, don't be afraid. Don't be sad. Don't be sorry. Be happy that you have found your potential. Be happy you have found your stride. You are beautiful. You are strong. You are amazing. Don't you ever forget it. I see this beautiful rainbow golden light now spreading over you as you embody the energy of the symbol that you saw here. This is what's going to create the brightness in your future, he says now. It's going to cast away a lot of the shadows that you were living in before. And he says, dear listener, when you stand in the light, you cast shadows. Don't be surprised when you see darkness around you, when you see difficulties and trials, tribulations and problems around you. It doesn't matter, because the more that you see, the brighter you are shining. Do you see it now? Do you see that your shining is so important for what you need to be doing in this world? Don't ever let your light grow dim. Be strong, he says. Be strong in your faith and your belief. It's funny, I actually feel a lot of you checking out right now, which is good, because it means you've gotten everything you needed to from this message. And there's also a coldness here from some past ancestors. I'm feeling grandmas and some uncles in particular for this collective. They're really strong in spirit, and they want you to know that they've been watching you and cheering for you and supporting from the sidelines, even if you never really knew them personally or you didn't get a lot of time with them before they passed away. They want you to know they're really proud of you and of your lineage for everything that you've done and have been doing. They're just so proud of you. That's the strongest thing that's coming through. And I see the little fire salamander again here. He's like making a little light. And he's saying, come, warm yourselves by my side. I am here for eternity. I'm here for everyone. So whenever you light a candle, you can channel the energy of this fire salamander, he's saying, and he will be present with you. And he wants you to know there is always a fire salamander present and guiding the energy of flames whenever candles are lit and wherever fires burn. He says, for we control this mysterious element. For we control the spread and the direction of the flames as we see fit, so as to cause chaos and destruction, or to keep safe and preserve and heat and warm. He says it is entirely within our control and understanding, and yet, by and large, we seek to do good and to obey the laws of physics, such that govern forces such as flames and plasmas in your world. Now I see Archangel Metatron moving, and he's taking you out of the Akashic records. He's closing your books and putting them away as you leave. And I see Akasha herself waving to you goodbye. I see her as a blue Sirian, which is a type of starseed. The rain just picked up quite a lot outside. Just interesting. I often associate rain and thunderstorms with timeline shifts and visions of potential, like when you have altered your course of reality. So this is an amazing sign. I see Archangel Metatron leading you down a set of stairs. Here outside the Golden Gates. A lot of people in this collective may perceive the Akashic records as behind some golden gates. And I'm seeing these like white stairs with some gold kind of like edging and lacing and stuff as we're going down. We're also going down into a meadow, and I see Archangel Metatron is taking us to a person here. This is really interesting. I feel this does resonate for my collective, but I do want to also say, I know this is a very individual experience. I do see twin flames here for this collective. And this twin flame is giving you a hug. And this twin flame wants you to know you're not alone on this journey. He says it's also okay if you don't believe in the concept of twin flames. He says, think of me as an aspect of your soul which seeks to embody your other half. Perhaps the half you don't seek to engage with as much. So he says, you can also think of me as your shadow. You can think of me as the side of you that is more difficult to embrace. You can think of me as a side of you that you wish you had love from, but you don't know how to give love to it yourself, and you don't know how to allow it to love you. He says, let me love you in the way that you deserve, dear soul, because you are whole and complete and perfect, even as you are. Again, he says you don't have to accept this message, but he feels that for a lot of you, this is a message that will resonate very powerfully. He says you have been looking for support from a counterpart or from a twin flame or soulmate, some type of connection. I'm getting for most of you, it's a masculine energy. It may not be for everyone, but and he does feel pretty masculine. Yeah, he says not to worry and that everything is going according to plan. And I see you crying here because I see a lot of tears in your eyes. I hear you thinking, I didn't think anything was going according to plan. I hear you just say it's been difficult. It's been really, really difficult. I've thought about giving up, but I haven't given up because of you. Wow, that's a really powerful message. And I hear him say, I haven't given up because of you, and I haven't given up because of us. I still believe in us. Even if you don't, I still do. And I think that's enough for the both of us. And I see him giving you a kiss on the lips and the cheek, and then you walking away from here. And as the doors close behind this garden, he's telling me you can come back here anytime that you like to meditate with your twin flame. If that is something that calls to you, if that's something that speaks to you and appeals to you. And he says it's perfectly all right if that's not something you want. And he says to just keep focusing on yourself and know that you are very supported and you are very whole. He says, don't let anyone tell you you're divided or not perfect or not complete. He says, don't keep looking for completeness outside yourself. Know that you have it within yourself. Know that you can access it at any point in time. He says, you are never alone. As we're leaving here, he gives me a receipt also. He says receipts may be very significant for you. Maybe you've been worried about receipts. I hear like year-end taxes or like performance reviews or like accounting and budgeting and planning. Many of you have like started spreadsheets recently, or you're trying to get more organized. And he says, take this receipt and remember this of me. He says, remember this experience and don't forget it ever happened today. Your Ursa Major, your Ursa Minor, your Sirius, and your special constellation, it exists here within both of our hearts. And you can access this journey and this dream at any point in time. And yet I would that you travel deeper than this, dear soul, and that you learn to actualize your future for yourself. Live it as if it's already happening. Because I'm telling you now, your present is your future and it's here now. And then he like kicks you out of this dreamscape and you're starting to leave your light trance state now. And you tumble back into your body on Earth in this planetarium, one level down from the astral traveling we were doing. And as you feel the solidness of this beanbag against your back, and you see the stars above you winking in and out of existence, you realize that the Sirius and the Ursa Major, Ursa Minor, and the special constellation at the center are all gone. It's just the blackness and the stars. And one by one, these stars start to wink out of existence. And one by one, you watch them go with so much gratitude in your heart. I feel so much peace from you now. And my cat's actually fallen asleep next to me. And now, dear listener, I want you to pull back even further into your earthly, material, causal, physical body. I want you to step out of the dreamscape, out of the tranceScape, and I want you to slowly wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, move your body, shift it this way and that. You may find that your fingers made a mudra symbol, or you may find your body, arms, or legs adopted a position that you are not quite familiar with, or that you haven't been in before, that you, excuse me, oh my gosh, I'm feeling a lot of energy clearing here. You may find just something strange or different about your body. And I want you to know this is completely normal and natural. I want you to know your body was moving with the flow of the meditation and with the guided trance state. And I want you to now to call back all elements of yourself which are important and needed for your guided higher mission. I want you now to know you can embody every single aspect of yourself in this earthly experience, and that this is going to be so great and so wonderful for you. I want you to be really, really excited, dear listener, I want you to be so happy and so proud of yourself for what you've just done. I'm seeing 444 on my clock now. I want you to show so much gratitude to yourself for what you just went through, because what you went through was not easy. No part of the trance journeying that I just took you through was easy. I said it was easy because I guided you through the experience, but the emotionalness of it that we uncovered, I think is fair to say, this is a really strong collective. And I just want you to be so proud of you, because I'm so proud of you. Even if I've never met you, I want you to know that our souls touched, and that I'm so grateful for this experience to have encountered each other. I'm so grateful that you're part of this world, that you exist. Your light is what shines and what has drawn me here today. I wasn't planning even on doing this meditation, and Metatron basically just said, hey, get up, we're doing this. Even though I felt really exhausted and really tired and achy and sore today. And then there's all this rain falling outside, but I don't know. Something about it felt magical, and it felt like I just had to do it. And so I trust, I know this reached who it needed to reach. And one last final message I'm getting is you need to look into your spirit animal, especially for those of you who saw a constellation or planet or symbol that you know has a connotation with a specific animal. Your spirit animal is trying to reach you right now. They really want to help ground you in the experiences happening on Earth right now. And they're saying it is like absolutely critical that you identify them and reach out to them, and either start working with that animal, like keep an image of it around you, maybe get a small carving of it, get a picture. If it's like a pet or something like that, a pet kind of animal, you know, depending on what position you're in, maybe see if you can get it. Like if it's a fish, or you know, maybe it's a hamster, or lizard, or cat, or dog. I don't know. Each of you are going to know how this resonates for you. I'm definitely getting, for some of you, it will be a pet. Some of you are being called to get pets, maybe more pets than you even feel comfortable with. But there is a reason for this. Pets ground us. Animals ground us. Even more than nature right now, I'm getting you need to connect with the emotional spirit of something from the animal kingdom. Bears is definitely coming up for some of you. Polar bears in particular. Brown grizzly for some of you. Also getting dolphins. I'm also getting mermaids, which are not a spirit animal, but I think that's just a calling for some of you to connect more with sea life, or maybe mermaids specifically, mermaid energy. I'm hearing sea bass. Interesting. I'm also hearing cauliflower. Some of you may need to be eating cauliflower. I think there might be a specific type of vitamin or something that's in cauliflower. It might be a vitamin or a mineral that you're low in. So I do recommend researching like raw cauliflower and seeing what's in it. Perhaps even cooked could be fine, but I'm like very strongly getting cauliflower for some reason. Perhaps the broccoli part of the collective might resonate extra hard with that, because it's a cruciferous vegetable. But anyway, I am sending you so much love and light, and sending you also so much gratitude for your shadow, for your darkness, because with that, you become a whole and integrated person, and all of that makes up the beautiful, wonderful person you are. Thank you so much for listening to this. I hope you find value in it. I'm so grateful for you being here, and I really wish you the best on this day, whether or not you are watching this on the day of November 11th, on 11/11 day, or some other day. I am manifesting that this portal brings through extremely transformative and powerful energies for whoever is watching it, no matter what day it is in the future. All right, beautiful souls. I love you so much. Have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day. And know you're so loved. Okay, bye-bye.